Crazy puppets from outer space. It's Sunday morning and I can't even speak right. Is it talk right? I just don't know. Hi, welcome. We're going to ask questions. How many people here this week? They will turn up. They will come. Build the field and they will come or whatever. Dang. So this happens every week. Every week. I subject these people, these amazing people, to my fucking prattling. Boom. Copy that damn, follow that damn Twitch. Because it's enlightenment. That's where the craziness happens. Man, I am really feeling it today. Really, seriously, sincerely feeling it. This is made possible with Angelspit's Patreon. Some of the amazing people are here. You guys are amazing. Thank you very much. And we talk about crazy thing. There's some insane merch happening as always and all sorts of things. But something very exciting is last week I did a stream called Heliosphere. Go watch it on YouTube because it's the tits. That's right, the tits. And then if you're a Patreon member, you get a copy of that stream for free. Or you can grab it on Bandcamp from that link there. There's going to be a lot more of these streams because I'm hella excited about it. Because the next one is actually in 2 weeks, next Thursday. And it's called Orbit Decay. And it's going to start at 12 o'clock LA time. And it's going to be really cool. It's really cool. I'm really getting into this. So there's a thing happening. And this thing is called Ice Planet 9000. So Angelspit and Ice Planet 9000 are doing a whole bunch of really cool things together. And there's going to be a whole bunch of really cool things happening, including a project called Sequence 1 Glass Jar, which I can finally talk about to a small degree. It's going to be a deluxe vinyl and an MP3. Excuse me, it's a they're long form instrumentals. I have been working on these for 2 years. And there is a whole bunch of stuff going on with it. And I have not been this excited about a release in a long time. It's going to be really huge. But it'll get kickstarted maybe in a month or so, I hope. But it's going to be very exciting. So just remember, Sequence 1, Glass Jar, and that's Angelspit versus Ice Planet 9000. But there's going to be a lot more on this coming. And if you like your music dark, hard, and continuous and merciless, as we all do, boom, MTV TV. It's the place to be. And after this, we're going to raid on over to MTV TV because it's going to be incredibile, which isn't really a word. I just made it up. Hi, guys. So unless anybody else does anybody have a question to start with, or should I talk about what I was talking about and saying that I'd be talking about? Yeah? Okay. So last week it was brought up very briefly, the question being, what's involved with going full-time as an artist and a musician? So what I'm going to give you is my perspective on this and my thoughts on it. If you ask someone else, they're going to tell you something different because, you know. Give me a minute. So, and if you're watching on Twitch and you have questions, throw them into the comments because, you know, we're always reading that. So here's the deal. If you want to go full time, you have to firstly make sure that you have something that works. There is an idea that each time you make a step, you know, you have your core music, the music that is pure to you. And your market's this big. So you're doing your pure music and the market's this big. But every time you make a decision to make that more marketable, you're going to expand your market. For example, you might be in a noise band. Noise. Your market's this big. But if you go, well, I'm going to add a beat under it, your market will become this big. And then if you say, I'm going to add really cool bass lines to it, your market becomes this big. And then if you say, I'm going to put really cool vocals to it, your market becomes this big. So as you make steps towards what people want to hear and want to pay for, you're increasing your audience. And that's basic marketing. There's nothing crazy about that. That's the first thing. The second thing is, how much does it cost you to exist? Like, how much do you pay for your apartment? How much do you pay for your Wi-Fi? What's your phone plan? Tell me about your car. Do you lease it? All of these questions. Do you like to go out twice a week and buy to a bar and buy $100 worth of beers? Do you like going to music? Do you like going to restaurants? Because if you want to go full-time music, that's going to stop. What time do you wake up in the morning? Do you like sleeping in? That's going to stop. Do you like ordering out? Do you cook your food or do you order out and get it delivered? If you're a full-time musician, that's going to stop. The first thing you're going to have to do is minimize your expenses so you're living like a student. So eating out is going to happen really once a week at the most, and it's going to be cheap. You're not going to go to a bar anymore to put $100 on beers. You're not going to be going to clubs all that very often. Anything that has to do with big expenses, you have to get rid of. If you have a love for expensive whiskey, that's going to go. If you have, you're going to have to cut back, drastically cut back. So once you have come to terms with cutting back like a madman, my first piece of advice is live 1 year after you've moved out of your expensive apartment into a dingy apartment in a dingy area of town where you're paying hardly any rent. You may even need to move cities or whatever. You've still got your job and you're still making lots of money. Save that money. Save every single cent of that money. This sucks even worse in the US because of healthcare reasons, like health insurance. I'm not even going to go into that one. So that's the first thing you need to do. 1 year of saving, because you're going to need it. And that 1 year kicks in as soon as you are at a point of making enough money to support yourself. So let's rewind that a little bit. Let's say you're paying $1,500 a month in rent. Does that sound fair? Maybe I'll say 1,000. Help me out here. I don't know. Don't make funny faces at me. Tell me what's cheap rent. What is that?
Cheap rent where I live is like probably about $600-700 for a 1-bedroom apartment.
Okay. Eric?
Yeah, I'm in Denver. We're not even close to that.
You're in Denver?
Yeah.
So you're less than 600 or more than 600?
Oh, wait, at least twice that.
All right.
Like, at least.
Diana, what's the damage like in Philly?
Oh, I don't know. I'm outside of Philly, so around here it's about 800-900.
All right.
1 bed.
I'm going to call it 1,000. And this is the part that's going to hurt. You might not be able to live in a 1-bedroom. You may have to flat. Like if you're like, room share. If you're really serious about this, you might have to room share. So I'm going to call it 1,000. That's a month. I'm going to say your living expenses and your electricity and your food and everything else is going to be $500, and that's insurance and everything. That's $1,500 a month. Now, and if you're dog serious about this, you're going to move. You are going to move somewhere like a small town or somewhere, assuming you have a car, which is an added expense. But if you don't have a car, you're going to need buses and transport. But if you're living in a town that has a city that has buses and transport, you're going to be paying a lot more rent. It just goes around. But remember, buses, transport, rent, and cars become a tax deduction. So, $1,500 a month. You're going to be selling a digital or something for $10 each. It might be a physical for $10-15, but you're going to be getting $5 per once the PayPal, Bandcamp, and everything else fee comes out. $5 per. How many do you have to sell per month to make that $1,500? 300. 300 that's a really steep goal to aim for, even for me. Like, stuff don't sell the way it used to sell. CDs don't sell the way it used to sell, etc. And then you go, well, I'm going to go on tour. Do you know how much money a tour costs? To go on tour, you're going to have $5,000 sitting there for merch, for logistics, for everything else. You might take your own car, but your car will probably break down, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So the first thing is, Patreons are fantastic, and I thank you guys again. Thank you. You must build up your Spotify, your YouTube, your Apple Play, all of your streaming things, even Pandora. You must build that up. You must pimp and pimp and pimp and pimp. So, as I've said in the past, I have found that of your entire audience, 1% are going to buy. 1% will buy stuff. The other 99% are going to either cheer and go, yeah, that's awesome, man, or they won't care. Either way, they're all welcome to come along for the trip. 1%. So if you have 1,000 pieces, here's Walt. If you have 1,000 people, that's 10 people. Walt. We're talking about going full-time and the joys of going full-time as a musician. So as you can see from this, you are looking at 100,000 people who are into what you are doing and are actively buying. Kickstarters are fantastic because you will sell a lot of things, and because of the nature of the way Kickstarters are and the way people are increasingly wired, they will gravitate towards them. But my question, bringing it back around, I wish Julius was here, was, do you really want to go full-time? Because I think a lot of people go, yeah, I'm going to be full-time. I'm just going to sit around all day long watching sci-fi and making music, and it's going to be great. Oh, I can't wait. No one telling me what to do. It's great. Well, there's two things in that. The first thing is you are going to spend 10% of your time making music if you're lucky, and that time you're going to have to squeeze in there. That's why I get up at 4:30 every morning. Is so I can make music. Between 4:30 and 9:30, I make music, or mix, or whatever, or produce other bands, or remix. The second thing is, you're going to have to be terrifyingly, horrifically amazing. Yeah, I just got a comment from Kitty Bell Gaming, saying it's the same thing for visual arts. Thank you. You are going to have to be amazing at being your own boss. I have a thing on my wall that's out of shot, and it says, what are you doing? What are you supposed to be doing? I have alerts on my computer that every single time I go onto Facebook and spend more than 3 minutes, or YouTube and start looking for alien conspiracy or synthesizer videos, I'm wasting time and wasting money. I'll be honest with you, I work 10 hours a day, at least 6 days a week. That's 60 hours a week, and what I make in that time is similar to an 18-year-old kid who flips hamburgers in McDonald's. Not per hour, per week. So, and I work my ass off. If I was signed to a label, get all the numbers I just mentioned to you and divide them by 2. That means instead of selling 300 a month, you have to sell 600 a month, because the label's going to take easily 50%, and whether it's worth it or not is a very great argument that I couldn't be bothered having, because you're wrong. Labels aren't worth it. You have to be doing this. You've got to do this. You've got to do this yourself. That's why we have these things, is to prepare you for the monstrous amount of promotion and all that jazz. So it comes back to the original question of, do you really want to go full-time? Because most of the time as a full-time artist is spent making money. Not making art, making money and selling your art. To which someone will go, oh, just get an agent. But if you get an agent, please go back and see number one. And plus, if you get an agent, there's a lot of little loopholes. Yeah, there's a lot of little loopholes with an agent. And that's if I sign album X to agent, if I sign album X to agent, 10 years later, the agent is still in their rights to be taking their 15 or 20%. Hey, Brent, we're talking about becoming a full-time artist. So, the core becomes, do you really want to do this? And is it therefore better to be getting up early or going to bed late to make your art? Therefore, with your job, etc., you have enough money to be promoting it, to be pushing it, to be doing all of that sort of thing. And you don't have to worry about financial income. And you don't have to worry about putting yourself out there and pushing yourself constantly. Is very difficult. We touched on that last week. It's psychologically hard. Because when somebody rejects you or calls you a spammer, because Eric is a spammer, kidding. It really hurts. If you've got a really good friend and they do reviews and they give a bad review, that's going to kill you. If one of your long-term fans says, man, I don't like your new album, there's not many things in the universe that cut you like that. It hurts. And it's their right to do that. And my advice is, with your fans, listen, but tread carefully. There's such an interesting boundary between doing what you want to do and doing what you need to do to grow this thing and get larger, get bigger. So that is the beginning. That is me scraping on the iceberg, merely licking it to become a full-time artist. If anybody has questions at this stage, jump in, because I'd like to think I have a little bit of experience when it comes full-time hell. Go.
I got more interest in the part-time ones.
Okay, well, we're going to swing around to that. If anybody has questions specifically pertaining to the building it to even becoming part-time, and then I'll yeah, thanks for the I hate YouTube, it's lying to me. So I'm gonna come back to that. We can talk about the math involved in part-time. Like, are you... Something also I always come back to an artist with is a great way to make money out of music is to negative gear it against your band, against your day job. That if you are actually creating enough money to warrant it as a part-time job, you can be rubbing the tax advantages against your day job. That being rent, that being gas, electricity, la 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 la. Facebook advertising, buying that new keyboard. But getting to that point where you are actually creating enough income to make it a part-time job is difficult. You're still looking at 100 sales a month, and 100 sales a month doesn't sound like much. I'll go weeks where I don't sell a thing, a single thing, nothing on Bandcamp, nothing, no merch, and then for the next few weeks it's like obliteration. It's just the nature of the being. It's like nothing. Nothing. And then you release something and it's crazy for a month or two, then it just dulls off. And that's the other thing as well, is that the money you make is going to be, since it's coming in dribs and drabs, you have to be really good as a saver, because you might do a Kickstarter and you pull $5,000 or $10,000 or something, but that $10,000 may need to last you 12 months. So, other fun things. Come on, ask me a question. Walt, I can tell you're bursting to ask me a question.
Man, I just think you hit it on the head, I'm a full-time artist, and I have to be my own boss. And I really feel like you're just nailing it just because you know. And so I don't really have a ton of questions aside from like, how on earth do you get the energy to wake up at 4 before you have a full day of work ahead of you that's not music production? You know, I'm out of energy most of the time. My job kind of just like sucks my brain energy out of me. By the end of the day, I can barely focus on anything. And so, you know, I guess, how on earth do you do that? 4:30 in the morning every day?
Yeah.
And then that's when you're making music because you're freshest in the morning.
Yeah.
Like you get your coffee and your brain is fresh.
Yeah. This is another interesting thing, is that my brain works, and I figured this out after many, many years of doing this, is that, and I'm not talking about music, I'm talking about life. My brain, when I wake up, so if I'm working at 5 a.m., that's the objective, is to be clear-headed and working. And the first thing you've got to do is know what you're doing the next morning. So before you go to bed, you plan it. I am going to work specifically. I'm going to work on Miss Ballistic. Sorry. Okay, I just got a message. Alex can't join us. You got to work on Miss Ballistic, or the new Els and the Cult, or the new Angelspit, or whatever, or the track I'm doing with Walt. Whatever it is I'm doing, I know what I am hitting. And I'm going to spend 4 hours nailing that thing with the objective of doing this. And then, usually it's 4 hours on, and then I dip out and I will go on to doing promotion. And my inbox is my to-do list, and my job is just to go through that stuff. And that's another sucky thing as well about being a full-time artist, is that whenever you're making music, you're making money. And those who you work with need to understand that I can't just do this for shits and giggles. I can't just do this because it's fun. I do this because I have to pay my fucking rent. And that's hard, because for some reason, I don't know why it is, but rock and roll, people think that rock and roll, and some people who get into rock and roll go, oh no man, it's all fun. You know,
they think that about art. They think that about all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of it. As soon as it's in the creative realm, they don't think we're working anymore. They think it's a big fucking party because we're not like, you know, shoveling shit. It's crazy.
And that's also another really interesting thing as well about music, is that music is, you know, if you play it right, it's the most amazing form of income, because you have royalties. So if you know, you have a CD that is now digital, and you own the rights to it 100%. Those rights are yours. There's no label involved, there's no nothing involved, it's yours. So once you've laid down the initial costs, and those costs might be $50, $50,000, whatever it is, every single time you sell that thing after PayPal takes its share and Bandcamp and whoever take their share, that money is yours. And you will be selling that thing for the next however many years. And it's the same thing with broadcasting royalties of Spotify, etc. That money is yours. Once everyone has taken their cut, it's yours. And that's a really interesting thing that does not really exist in many other forms of art, or many other forms of anything, you know, except movies and scripts and stuff, is the royalty side of it, and the side of digitally mass producing something. You lay it out and you can keep doing it. And if you do it right, and if you establish a brand and identity that can last, it will keep paying your rent. Your rent is still being paid by that album that I wrote 15 years ago. And then the next one I did 13 and 11 and da-da-da-da-da. And also constantly putting stuff. I digressed off your question. Well, I apologize. The actual creative cool ideas, I don't know when they come. They just come. And you write them down, and you make a note of it. But actually formulating them, the hard, nasty work of bashing that into a song, comes in the morning. And another really interesting thing is that when you, and for God's sake, this has got to be done sober. You're working with heavy machinery, do this sober. Because alcohol and any other drug is going to change your perception of the song. man, this is the fucking greatest riff I've ever heard. Oh, man, I love you so much. This is the best fucking riff. When you listen to that riff later when you're sober, it's like, wow, this is absolute crap. And it's
you also run into dead ends. Sorry to interrupt. But you run, like, when you're drunk or when you're high, you run into huge dead ends. There are these big walls in front of you while you're producing a song, while you're working on a project, and it slows you down. You can't finish your thought because you lost your fucking thought. And, it just stands in the way of your creativity. Some will argue, and I have too, that at some point it does unlock creativity, like weed or whatever, but weigh it, I guess, weigh the pros and cons.
I mean, well, that's what's really interesting as well about coffee or anything at all, is it's going to change your perception or how much sleep I've had or what time of the day it is. Like, I'll listen to something in the morning and go, okay, yeah, this is really working. After I work on it for 4 hours, it's a piece of shit. I hate it. I hate myself. I hate everything I do. I just want to die. Everyone is nodding their head right now because they know exactly how that is. So, yeah, it's it's so really important not to have chemicals that are controlling you, and I include coffee with that. So that's how I do it. And plus, if I get up early, it's not detracted. Like, the cats are kind of asleep, the wife's asleep, and as soon as everybody wakes up, it becomes morning ritual hour, and then I'm back into it. The other thing that, since I live in Los Angeles, is that from about 12 o'clock onward, it gets fucking hot. And I have air conditioning, and that's great. But sometimes the synths just go, nope, we're not doing this. Yeah. And also, the other cool thing about doing promo work is I can listen to music. That's one thing that really sucks about music, is that you can't listen to music when you're listening to music, making music. I just want to listen to Mozart or something. I'm listening to this clanging shit. But when you're promoting it, you can do it then. But the plan and being your own boss is critically important. It's also really important to remember that I started Angelspit when I was 33. I was 33. And I had been in several very serious bands. And Angelspit was the one to take off. And Angelspit took off because I had learnt from all of those bands. And I had gone, this works, this doesn't work. Even in performance, this and this work. This is what the audience wants to hear. And I played ball with that just a little bit. And that's actually a really interesting thing, is that the first album that came out was fast. The tempos were over 150. It was a fast album. And it did not get received well. It was not received well. And I have the reviews to prove it. It's when I made decisions, and I remember playing this stuff in venues, because people are they are trained to dance at 120 to 140. That's where they are trained to dance, because they can do all those goth moves. But the funny thing is that when a Cure, God, what the fuck is that song? Is it Shadow the Park? Dung 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 da 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 da. What is that song? Yeah, I don't know either, and I don't fucking care. It's that Cure song from the early 80s that everyone dances to, which is a fast song, which is like 160 BPM. Oh, we're all dancing to that one, but we can't dance to this one. So I had to bring the tempos down so people could play to it, dance to it, so DJs would play it. And then you start playing those songs live and people are dancing. What was I saying? But anyway, there you go. Woe is me. So I totally lost my thoughts. Somebody else asked me a question. Go. A forest, yes. Thank you, Alex. Is a forest. Yeah. It's a forest. We just lost Diana again. No, Diana's still there. Ask me a question, damn it. Oh, Eric, go. Mark, I see your hand. Eric, shoot.
Yeah, this is maybe it's on point with making money as musicians and producers, but a little off topic. But I've been looking at lately looking into maybe producing and selling beats or leasing them across maybe hip hop platforms, electro platforms, or whatever. Does anybody have any experience with that? Like just making some stuff, putting it out there, and trying to make some money that way? No one?
I wish Adam was here because he's released a set of loops on Bandcamp.
Okay.
I would assume for you to do that and to break into that, you have to be exceptionally good. And the same rules of marketing and everything are going to approach. The more you do, the more money you make. However, when you get somebody else, and I want to take 30 seconds to talk about Buy-on. If you get an agent or somebody else, they're going to take a cut. You will get less, but it might go further. Might. I can't stress might enough. The amount of people who go, I want to get signed, and then they get signed because they think that getting signed is going to make everything easy for them, and it doesn't. Nothing happens. Whatever it is you were expecting doesn't happen. You think that this person is going to help you and push you and make your shit happen. It doesn't. I was lucky that the first band Angelspit, label Angelspit Dance signed to, which was Dancing Ferret, he did. Thanks, Walt. I learned a lot from working with Patrick because he was a good label guy. He gave a shit. I have been signed to other labels. They do not give a shit. I didn't answer your question. I just totally... And then I was going to say something and I forgot. So, I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know a lot about that.
I see a lot of people asking for free beats. I don't see a lot of people actually marketing beats.
It's like stock photos. So it's like producing clip art. You would have to have a website full of it and produce entire packs and release those packs with good marketing. Like if you did like a video and had a website that looked flashy and had like 10 different packs with 50 different samples on them, or released them to other websites, you know what I mean? Like, and had really good labeling and really good images. That's what people are gonna kind of go for. It's like a different market, you know. You're like, most people who are grabbing those, I think, aren't coming from the more artistic side of things. They're looking for kind of the, you know, their grab and place and they're that kind of DJ. So it's a little different.
There are also maybe some opportunity in it going from the non-fungible transaction side of things. Taking Bitcoin into account just because of the newness, but I think you'd be riding like a trend at the point. Nothing wrong with that, but it may not last.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm sorry. I'm going to throw it back. Mark, you've got your. I'm going to finish up. Eric, are you satisfied with the answers? I'm sorry, Eric, that have rained upon you in this moment of joy.
It was very joyous, yes.
And it did rain.
It's definitely raining here too.
All right,
so,
good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brett. I just want to I want to throw to Mark. Go.
I wasn't actually raising my hand. I was pointing at Eric.
All right. Okay. We like pointing at Eric. Isn't it funny? Everyone's pointing somewhere differently right now. So does anybody else have a question? Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying multi-dimensional.
You are. Eric is everywhere. Omnipresent. Omnipresent. Does anybody else have a question they want to jive with me, Bunny? That was an early, late 80s reference, Jive Bunny. I'm glad you got it, because if you didn't, if you forget it. No one else has any other questions regarding this incredibly important topic.
It took me a second to get it back. Do you find that music in terms of sales and whatnot, is more the loss leader, and you get more from the merch, etc. I mean, is it kind of like the music part of it is more of the thing that gets them there, but really you're making the income off of the other stuff?
No. And I thought I did. And it's interesting that I log this when I do my tax, because I love doing tax. Yeah, I know. And it helps if you like doing your tax and you like doing your numbers. Oh, yeah. Okay. I know Alex has got a question about PAs. This is interesting. No, I make more through royalties, sales, downloads, and stuff. And I include Patreon in that slab. Thank you guys again. But I used to think that, let me say that when I was signed, I was making more money off merch. And some labels will actually take a cut of your merch sales as well. Fuck them. Yeah, right? But since I've done this independently, I make more money off music. And maybe it's just I'm at a point now where, thankfully, after, like I said, Angelspit's been doing this 15 years, 17 years. Jesus Christ, 17 fucking years. It's at a point where it's starting to self-perpetuate and self-grow. And that's something else I wanted to, mention as well, is that something changed in mid-2000s, in the mid-2010s. Something changed. And I thought, oh, it was Angelspit. But I talked to all of these other bands, all these other bands that are like in the same bandwidth as Angelspit, across different genres. And everybody said the same thing, that there was this dip happened, where every person who is now getting into Angelspit or moving towards it, I have had to make personal contact with that person, whether it's talking to them on after they say something on Twitch or on Facebook or on YouTube, or at a show or something. Those people are now becoming fans and being invested in Angelspit. Before that, and when you think about that, that's fundamental building blocks of building a band. That's starting out shit. Because what you think is that you put something out there and it just grows itself. It does grow itself to a degree, but not like how it used to grow itself. Something has happened that has stopped this engine of self-perpetuation, of this thing building itself, and now it's back in there with brass tacks, brass knuckles. A lot of people I talk to seem to think that it's Facebook, and seem to think that because of the vast quantity of noise of social media, you can just do an ad or you can just do something and pay some money and it's taken care of. And so there's a whole bunch of people who have that mindset. And yes, it's important to do that, but you've got to keep talking to people, because that's what this is really about. Yeah. I fear this isn't... Hey, here's Tanner. I fear this is not very encouraging. I think
that's an awesome insight.
Oh, wow. I just got a... Kitty mentioned the Angelspit forum. Them were the days. Oh, we've now got a Discord. I need to get on the Discord some more. Yeah, it's tricky, and so that's. I'm umming and ahhing terribly. If anybody else has a question, jump in.
I can kind of remember those days in terms of how the interest was. Because that was also like, there was a bunch of stuff going on just before then with like Metallica and whatnot. And you had file sharing and everything else going on, and it was kind of the emergence of the digital market. And that was a very disruptive time. And it really, I think, did change how the market itself works, but it also provided new opportunities where I think it broke some things like the record store. You know, there was always the frustrations of going to the record store, and it's like, well, I don't know if I really want to buy this because I've never heard it before, and you're kind of like, well, I'm taking my 10, 20 bucks, whatever, and it's a roll of the dice. But then, you know, with everything that came, you could examine entire collections, and that's honestly where I ended up picking up on Angelspit. And it was like, oh, wait a minute, all these people are good, let me support the good people. And that was kind of a different thing, but there was a lot of disruption.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can nicely put it.
Let me know when I can jump in on that, because you brought up some points. All right, thank you. It was really interesting. Like, I remember it so well. Angelspit started when Metallica was suing Napster, and it was suing their fans. And I was going, fuck Metallica, fuck those guys. And looking back, more bands should have followed suit. Metallica had the guts to do that because people were stealing from them. And when Metallica and Gene fucking Simmons go, you know what, they were right. You know, you should listen because, you know, you can say whatever you want about those very flamboyant chaps. The thing is, they've got a lot of rock and roll wisdom. I don't want to go down that path. Here's what I'll say. Firstly, when it started, when the whole Napster file sharing thing started, bands would play a show and they would sell 50 to 100 CDs. Like, I remember the band I was in, Jekyll Switch. Who the fuck's heard of Jekyll Switch? We were selling easily 10 CDs a night. Yeah, I need to actually, I've got an update, a live, you can stream Jekyll Switch on Spotify. It's actually pretty fucking good. I still listen to it going, Jesus, this is ferocious. Anyway, so that was all happening then. And what was happening is it was driving people to shows. It was getting people interested in what you were doing, and it was, you know, selling your merch. Back then, there wasn't really a very good way to buy and sell things online. PayPal was still in its, you know, it was still baby stuff. So what you were doing was still mail order and shit like that. So stuff was selling. Please keep in mind, we are talking about a different generation. Although that generation is still, you know, we've all moved together here. By the time Angelspit was on its feet, and it was getting onto the second or third album, there was a lot stronger digital presence. And I remember I was talking to Jen from Area, and she said, wow, for the first time ever, one of my albums, the digitals have outsold the physicals. Oh, wow, that's crazy. Because it's like, wow. Meanwhile, people were still downloading stuff for free. The file sharing thing was still happening. I mean, like, piss on fucking Spotify all you want. But just remember that somebody can go onto Pirate Bay, download your entire thing, and you don't get a cent for it. They do not. The vast majority of those people don't buy your merch. They don't go to your shows. They don't buy your CDs. The vast majority. But if you listen on Spotify, at least you're getting a fraction of a cent. And at least you are getting the opportunity. Hey, if you like Angelspit, you'll like Ice and Tiller. You'll like Healy and Flowers. So, and it's really interesting that whenever I'm at a show and somebody says, hey man, I downloaded all your stuff. Are you cool with that? I'll say, no, I'm not. Like, really politely. Actually, I'm not okay with that. Because those albums cost me time, a lot of money. That's my product. And you've just walked into my shop and stolen it just because you could. So if you want to do me a favor, go to the merch thing and buy a whole bunch of t-shirts. You know, and I won't say this like an asshole. I'll say it like, we are here playing this show because we have been funded by those sales online for us to get here. And or buy all those CDs. And usually when that happens, the person will come back to me with a pile of CDs saying, well, can you sign it? I say, fuck, man, of course, and thank you so much. But yeah, I am grateful that these things have come into place to offset file sharing. And a lot of people are going to disagree with me, but I don't know how they make their money.
No, I'll readily admit things like Google Music, iTunes, things like that, where now you can just pay and you can listen to whatever you listen to. I think that's honestly probably the best outcome from where those two technologies collided.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's still a work in progress. Like, there'll be something else. But something else I wanted to pick up was that the thing we had back then was MySpace. And MySpace was band orientated. It was about bands. That's what it was for. And Timberlake or Timberland, one of the Timber guys, has bought MySpace and is trying to resurrect it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is Tom still everyone's friend?
Probably. Tom's on Facebook, but I won't go into like a severe Facebook hating spiel. And before then there was, dark, what was it called? Dead Space? No, Dead Journal and Live Journal.
You had GeoCities and all the other hosted sites too.
And what happened is if you said something, it would appear in all of your friends' feeds. And I remember I would post something about a CD and I would get several sales. But that doesn't happen anymore because Facebook. So it's not, it's not a bitch session. It's something has happened, and what has happened, and here we are, and we're dealing with it as best we can. But as far as you are concerned, as far as getting your band to be full-time or part-time, to be made for the commercial viability as a musician, but withdrawing from the commercialized aspect and making music. Hold on a minute. I just this came in. Hold on. Charlie Smith on YouTube just said, "There's obviously an argument to be made for commercial viability as a musician, but what about withdrawing from the commercialized aspect of making your music exclusive to true fans?" And making your commercialized aspect and making your music exclusive to true fans. So that's things like, that's stuff like, Patreon. And once again, sure, the model is I have 10 people who will, if I put out something for $300, they're going to buy it. I don't. I wish I do. I have a couple, but the problem with no matter what your model is, you have to find those people. And that's promotion, or playing, or streaming, or whatever it is, you're banging that drum. And if you want to go full-time or part-time, it's promotion. And I will really, so I don't know if that answered your question, Charlie, but it's a really good question. It's a great idea, but either way. And I've spoken about buying on before, like buying onto a tour, and soon we're going to see people buying on to live streams. If I could go back in time and give myself a piece of advice, I would have said buy on to a tour. Because, like, I shouldn't really mention the name of the band. I have never bought onto a tour, but I was offered a buy on, and as I said before, you're here. And for you to get here, it's going to take 2 years. And a lot of time, and a lot of input, and a lot of shitty tours, and a lot of promotion, and a lot of pain. Or you could buy on. You could spend $5,000 to jump through a wormhole and go on tour with that band, sell a fuckload of merch, and be put in front of their audience who are potentially your audience. $5,000. And when you do the sums and you go, well, I'm going to be playing to 100 people a night or so over 30 shows, maybe 200 people, although this is going to be like 500 people. So, you were looking at, 20,000 people. And if 10% of them walked away going, fuck, I love Angelspit, that's 2,000 people. 2,000 people. Wow, that's amazing. Buy on. If you do the calculations and it works out, buy on. Save yourself time, because it's just like Dungeons and Dragons. It's like you're playing and there's -1 life points. Well, every time you get a shit review, like a shit review, every time you do a tour, that's a bad review is -1 life point. Trust me. If you do a tour, that's -3 life points. But if that tour is an economic disaster, that's -5 life points. And you are just going to keep nailing and nailing and nailing. And that youthful exuberance you have towards your music, trust me, it's going to fucking run out. And when that has gone, you need something else behind you, which is an idea, which is the reason I do this, is because I want to fucking change the world. I want to inspire people to make their music. I want to give people the education that they don't have, is not available to them, or they can't afford. That has become your driving point, or whatever it is. I want to make motherfuckers dance and forget their problems. That's a good one to have. All of this shit is going to get you down. And you're just going to go, no amount of money is going to give you the life points you need to jump forward and do your fucking thing. So buy on. I went on a rant. I had something else to say, but I forgot. All right, come on. Ask me a question.
What's the meaning of life?
I don't know, maybe, and this might be touching on last week too with promotions and stuff, Carl or anybody else. I have a problem with just being down on myself a lot, depression, anxiety.
Yeah.
If you're trying to promote and you hate, like I hate Facebook, I don't like Instagram, I don't like any of that stuff. And I find it difficult to get into cesspools like that sometimes and do it. How do you overcome doing that to make a living part-time, full-time? I know there's no secrets or tell-all, but like how can you force yourself to get through that aspect to just...
Okay, that's a very serious question, and I'm going to address it after I say 42, Brett. It's fucking 42. So this is, you've got to wear a mask. And you've got to have a plan. You've got to have an attack plan. Mark, I see your hand. And you've got to stick at that attack plan. The only way you're going to fail is by giving up. That's it. And the only person who is going to force you into giving up is you. It's not that person who writes you a shitty review, or that girlfriend who dumps you because she says you should get a real job, or blah, 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 blah. It's you. It's you going, you know what? The bastards have got me down and I let them win. I stayed in that position long enough to be hammered. I didn't get out, and it's got me. How do you stop from digging your own fucking grave? Because I know exactly how you feel, and I know all of us do too. My first piece of advice is keep away from any form of narcotics. My second piece of advice is keep away from toxic people. Don't read reviews, good ones or bad ones. Don't read them, and believe in yourself. And you are surrounded by this tribe. Like, jump on the Discord and say, this is what I'm doing. Listen to my shit and help me out. Is this do I keep going? And everyone's going to say yes, because it is fucking worth going. And, some people might give you some pointers, but you've got to keep going. it is natural. Like, this is the cruel irony of the fucking universe, is people get into music because I feel really down about myself, and don't like other people. I don't like going out. I'm such a nerd. Humans. I'm going to go and I'm going to make music. Oh, hey, this has become a thing. I'm going to keep making music. Oh, I still don't like people. And now it's time to actually promote that music. And it's like, you're still that introverted little puppy. So you know how your music is an act? It is. You are projecting the avatar of a greater you. You are projecting the godlike version of you. Please listen to this. That godlike person of you that you project with storming fucking drums and guitars and hell, that person's got to do your marketing. Because that person, that God is inside you, that God must do your marketing. And I fucking hate Facebook. I hate writing these things. I don't know how to write these things. And I see other people writing things and I go, that's the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. And they get 500 people going, yeah, man, I'm all about it. And they have the skill and good on them. What I should do is learn from them. Learn how to make people interact instead of just going, go listen to my shit. Which, that's my problem. I do that. So you've just, you're a smart guy. All of us are smart people. We need to learn this new language. And it's really, at the end of the day, it's code, because you're talking to a fucking algorithm. Learn the code. Hack the code like it's the Matrix, because the Matrix is real. Learn how to hack that thing that is hacking shit into people's brains, which is very cyberpunk. So there's no short answer for it. Be the God that is in there. There's a God in your music, and your music's pretty damn ferocious. So become that person. Just become that person. I hope I don't... I'm going to mute my mic for a minute. Yeah, just because that's personal. Do you have another question to that, or can I? And we're going to jump back to that every fucking week.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Does anybody else want to jump in there and help this boy before we jump over to Mark?
I was only going to say that the one thing nice about Facebook is that that is actually how I met you, and it's the first time that in this whole thing that artists and such that I listened to actually became people.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah. When I was having a nervous breakdown and you were fixing my computer. Thank you. Mark, I'll throw it to you now.
Well, I was going to say something similar to what Carl was saying. I was practicing. I've been practicing all week.
Thank you.
But Eric, as far as like how you do going to the cesspool and all, to me that's not unlike having to essentially put on a suit or whatever and go into work every morning and deal with people that you really don't like. Like me personally, I do not like my current manager, but me personally, I am focused on I'm here to do my job. This job does not define me, but I have bills to pay and I do like the pay. So I deal with it every day. And now my boss is driving me back to the office, and I have nothing but contempt for him right now. Now, he claims it came from a higher level, but whatever. But the point is, you have to be willing to put up with some things you do not like for the sake of advancing your own desires.
Horrible advice, Mark, but absolutely true. Absolutely true. Like, I'll tell you this as well, that I used to work the worst jobs I've ever had. I have learnt the most from that pertains to this job now. I used to work for Microsoft. It was very difficult as far as I couldn't do the timelines and everything and dealing with deadlines if I didn't work for Microsoft, because I learnt how to fucking churn out a product. then I did this other stuff for another software design company, and I learned how to deal with partly people who I fucking despise. And then I did another job, which was for the public service, which taught me to be calm, centered, and fucking work. Even when all of this shit is happening, or you are surrounded by people who don't work, that's the bit that fucking destroys me. Lazy people who want to give me their, oh man, calm down, chill out, relax attitude. Every single fucking Angelspit song tells those people to fuck off. Like people who go, oh man, you know, you just need to take a chill pill and relax. What's the big deal, man? It's like, please fuck off and die. Fuck off. Just to shut up and keep plowing through it, and don't sit back on the couch eating a pizza, watching YouTube videos on aliens. Just don't give in, because that voice, remember, here is something else very important. The driving force of the universe, and you are a child of the universe, you are, the driving force of this universe is to stop. It is for all energy to equal out and to find equilibrium. So everything stops, comes to a grinding fucking halt. Everything is the same, with the same tempo and the same temperature. Everything, suns melt into the space, and everything becomes this bland. That's what the universe wants. And between all these moments of chaos and moments of explosions, ultimately it's what it wants. Humans want that. They just go, they want to retire, they want to sit on their fucking couch, they want to put their feet up, and that's great. You know, sometimes I really want to sit on the couch, put my feet up, eat fucking pizza, and watch Star Trek. I really want to fucking do that. But I can't, because I can't afford a couch. I can't afford pizza, and I can't afford the cable required for the Starfighter. Let me tell you, man, starvation is a really, really good inspiration to keep going. And another really good one is seeing those aforementioned people who you fucking hate, watching them succeed. That's a good one. And I sound like such a trivial bitch for saying that, but that's the fucking truth. You know, the old Klingon proverb. But this is a part where you've got to like expand beyond your mind and go, you know, increasingly I see those people like succeed, and I go, you know what? He deserves that. She deserves that. She fucking, like, I know that person went through just as much shit as I've gone through for fucking 10 years. They deserve this win. Good on them. So just making it positive, throwing out to the universe. I don't know why I'm saying that. Fuck all those poses. Indeed, Adam Bomb. Hi, Adam. We really miss you interrupting right now. Unfortunately, I can't mute his Twitch. I should make you a moderator so we can raid to MTV TV later. Anyway, that's that part. So that's another thing. Like I said, you want to stop. You want to fucking stop. Don't. Right? My computer just froze. Don't stop. Don't give in to that desire to stop. Go for a walk, eat something healthy, recharge your batteries, take some off time. Do not look at the box. Do not look at the screen. Get away from the screen. Fucking relax. Play with your cat, as you can probably hear her in the background. Work on your flowers. Do something. Then get back into it. Ask me another question. Everybody ask a question. Go. Yeah.
Nothing will blank your mind faster than ask me a question.
Yeah. And nothing will piss off your partner more than saying, oh, calm down, it'll be okay.
That's right. Or Behringer.
Yeah. Come on, someone ask me. I'm just reading Adam. He's on a roll. Are you wearing your hat, Adam? Are you wearing your hat? That's all I want to know right now. Come on, ask me a question. Tanner, you're awfully quiet.
Let's see.
Oh, fuck's fuck's sake. All right, we'll talk about PAs if you want, because Alex had a question about PAs, about making a PA work, and Walt's pointing at me for someone. We want to talk about PAs as in public address systems. Can you hear her? Is that why you're laughing? The cat is yelling at me right now. So the way you make a PA work, and I'm assuming we're talking about how do you... Okay, I have to go, and I have a cat to deal with. She is seriously screaming at me. I'm going to be back in 30 seconds. Somebody take over and say something smart. Go.
Carl would like to promote Behringer for the next few minutes while he is away dealing with this
Fuck
cat.
off.
That ought to make this brief.
Go on.
He especially loves their mixers. I don't know if they make mics, but I'm sure he'd promote those too.
Yeah. Brett is Carl's new PR guy.
Well, you want to know where Carl is? Give me a second.
What's actually really funny is that I'm muted on Zoom but not muted here, so I'm listening to them right now.
Anyway, I guess another question is: are there any newer social media out there that you can see that might be worth it? Not necessarily U.S.-based companies.
Thanks, Brett. That was great. Anyway, the Russian one, VK, is really interesting.
Okay.
It's
hearing about.
Yeah, it's just see. This is what's really interesting about social media is that they all pop up and then they disappear. VK stuck around a little while, and I do want to talk about PAs, I should say, but VK has stuck around a bit, and it's got a big grab into Russia and Europe. And my stats come back that I have an audience, a sizable audience in Russia. So definitely, look into VK and all that stuff.
VK? Like
V
Victor.
V for Victor, K for
Thank you.
Carl. Yeah, look into VK. And you can also stream to VK from Restream. But that's my thoughts, and they come and go. Like that's what's really hard about them, is that because there's a whole bunch of bullshit going on under the, they're all, killing each other. Oh, as soon as you stick your head up too far, certain companies are going to go snippy snip. Yeah. So, can I start shooting my mouth off about VR? I mean, VK, thank you. Cool, I found out about your music on... Oh, cool. Well, excellent, says Space Exorcist. What seems to be the best timeline to let someone know when you are going to go live, or do you go live? I got a question from Aaron, which is, what seems to be the best... That's AKA Grim Life of Hack and Slash. It's actually really, really funny, and you need to check it out. It's funny. I got to be honest. I watch Grim sometimes, and it's a little bit painful because I used to work in the public service, and some of the shit they say is like, man, that's a bit close to the bone. While I'm laughing my ass off. Graham. And he asks, what seems to be the best time for someone to let someone know when you are going to go live, and when you go live. So basically, the lead time, I give it 2 weeks. I'm trying to treat it like a gig. When I'm doing my streams, hey, I should plug my stream. I'm doing a stream next Thursday. No, the Thursday after next, called Orbit Decay. And I will set that up 10 days before, and I will try and make it as much of an event as I can. Remember about bands in town. Bands in town. Set up a thing with bands in town. Doesn't matter what you're doing, set it up with bands in town. And set up a thing with Songkick. Songkick. And these are both things that help you get it out. And what's important is that one of them's connected to Twitch and one of them's connected to Spotify. So every time, when you put an event up on one of them, it'll ping it onto the other said thingies. I try and do it 10 days in advance, and Aaron, you should really put a link to that fucking Tree of Despair that we did for the Grim. It's bloody awesome. Love your content, man. 10 days in advance, having a lot of trouble focusing today. 10 days in advance, and make a poster for it. Because if you jump on that Orbit Decay, you'll notice I made a little poster. If you make it an event, it's a good thing. Depending on when as well. I need to get an answer because you're after remember to do is good. Yeah. Because usually people can just jump on. But if people like put a pin in it and go, okay, I will watch that thing, it's still rock and roll. I hope that makes sense. I don't feel it does. I'm now going to talk about PAs. And when Adam comes back here with the hat, we're going to talk about it then. So, obviously the question is, when I play a gig, how do I'm assuming, Alex, the question is, how do I make sure that it doesn't suck? I personally think that the trick is to give the sound person as little power as possible, because the sound person doesn't know what you sound like. So it's easy to go, that sound person's a fucking idiot. But if you assume that they don't know what you sound like, because they don't know what you sound like, and you give them, excuse me again, as little space as possible to fuck up your mix, then your mix shall not be fucked. And I will give them a stereo, or actually now it's it's a stereo laptop feed. I will give them a modular synthesizer that I will tell them to treat it like a guitar. And then I will give them the vocals. I know people who will send them everything in a mono or stereo bus. My only problem with that is if there's feedback or related problems, like feedback stuff, they can't do anything about it. Yeah.
Are you relying on their house systems mostly?
Yeah. I can't afford to drag a PA around with me. Not many people can. I did know of a band once called Curse of Cassandra from Cincinnati. They were awesome. They used to carry a sub around with them, like this 4-foot sub. And they used it very, very well.
Oh.
Yeah, they used it extremely well. And you could hear the difference in their music when they fucking pulled that sub in. And they just had the lows of their kick in that sub, because most house PAs don't have sub. I could not do that. They also toured in an RV, because they were a couple with cats, and they would just take everything in their RV. And I thought that was the most brilliant fucking idea I have ever seen. They just pull up in a Walmart. Touring suggestion in the US, it's totally okay. You can pull into a truck stop to sleep. You can also pull into a Walmart car park. Totally legal. Walmart actually encourage it because they don't want people to die on the roads, which is good. So that's one of my thoughts. And yeah, Adam, I wish you were here because we'd be bouncing off each other regarding PAs.
So then, are you bringing your own monitors with you?
No. Nope. I have in-ears. Dude, if you're going to do a tour, get in-ears. Get in-ear bloody... I've got a Shure in-ear whatever it costs. I don't know, $500 or something. I can't remember what it cost. Fucking best money I've ever spent. Because they can't fuck my sound up. Because I'm taking my in-ears straight out of my desk. And my in-ears have got this thing where I can say the audio, the backing track goes in this one and your voice goes in this one, and you can balance between the two. Now, this is good for a lot of reasons, because not only is I now have total control of what I'm hearing. When the in-ears are in, because they're kind of fitted to your ears, you can't hear a fucking thing. So they don't have to be too loud. The problem is a lot of people push them too loud and they really hurt their ears. Bad. Only get one set of ears. Don't fuck them. The other thing is that because there's less stuff requirement for this shit on stage, the stage volume comes down. And that means that the house volume can be more clear. Because the problem you've got in a lot of pubs and clubs is the sound sucks because the wedges suck, the monitors suck, and a lot of that sound is bouncing off the back wall and being bounced back at the audience, so it's crap. You're getting this mix of the house with the monitors, and it's poo. The other cool thing is you can take the monitors off the stage, and when you take the monitors off the stage, you just got yourself another 2 feet by 8 feet, 10 feet, 12 feet, however long it is. Yeah, in-ears are great. One of those things that I wish I did fucking 10 years ago is get a good pair of in-ears, and I wish I got a good vocal processor as well, because that's the other thing they're going to fuck up is your voice. But if you hand them something that is already pre-programmed to sound delicious, then it's going to be good. Cool.
That way they're just mixing in what they need from the live versus.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a funny thing about like a lot of live audio is it's compensating for a lot of other problems that are there that, you know, if you're performing, you might not understand that stuff. But whereas if the house engineer is good and knows the house, they know, well, this room is boomy at this area. It's this, 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 and this, and this. And they're going to set up to compensate all that stuff. But if you walk in there with a system where they're doing less compensating, they can just focus on delivering good sound. Theoretically, a PA in a room should sound good. It's all of these other things that happen that makes it sound like crap. Somebody asked me a question.
I was just gonna say that some of that reminds me a little bit of what I learned in when I was on TV, except that live performances work a little bit different with video cameras. But you know, obviously, once you get back to delivering that, especially if you're not going straight from live performance to the audience over camera, you don't have a lot of options to do the mixing in of padding. But yeah, I just thought that was kind of a neat difference.
Yeah. Mixing is it's a demon, man. It's such a, yeah, it's just it's a thing. It's a real thing. And it's a skill set unto itself. Like, oh my God. Somebody asked me a question quickly, or I'm going to keep talking about my new thing with, Diana. Shoot.
How do you, so there are apps that can help you schedule posts and things, but sometimes it feels like the social media aspect of things is overwhelming. How do you schedule yourself that, you know, to make sure you get the essentials done? How do I put this? It feels like you have to be constantly on it. How do you, walk away, like, okay, this is when I'm doing this, and then, okay, I have other things to do. Like, how do you compartmentalize, I guess?
Mondays is pimping day. It's my admin day. I hate Mondays. So what I will do on Monday is set up the streams, all of the social media drops for the next week. I will, say, because I touched on it last week, how I will drop to a different social media asset every second day, and to other ones on off days. I drop to this one at 8 a.m., this one at 8 p.m., this one at 1 p.m. So everything's going boop, 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 all over the place. So it looks like it's this cloud of activity. But the trick is you preset it up, and you write out a schedule, and that, it might take you an hour or two to do that schedule, but trust me, you're going to save time, because the trap with social media is when you jump on it to do one thing that takes 3 minutes, 20 minutes later, you're having an argument with somebody on the Behringer forum because, Behringer.
Had to do all that.
That's fine. That's fine.
I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Carl.
That's a pleasure. I was talking to somebody recently about how all the top selling things on Reverb are Behringer. People love Behringer. It's all the top selling stuff, and it's like, no, it's not. They're selling it because it's crap. You buy a Behringer when you don't afford a Moog, and when you got the money, you get your Moog or your Sequential. Sequential's a fucking good brand. God, really? Don't get me started. Like, what? Just
I like my X-Air, man.
develop your own shit. Like, that's what they need to do. A physical list helps me. Yes, definitely. Amen to Adam when I was shooting up Behringer. But people are making music, so that's ultimately all that matters. That's what matters. But I will tell you this, man. When you're twiddling a knob on their little Model D, and then you twiddle a knob on a Grandmother or a fucking Voyager, the room quakes. There is a difference.
I'll also say mine has no knobs. They're all digital.
Wow.
So,
Anyway, no, that's fine. But ultimately, you're making music, and that's what's important. That's the important thing. And you're going to learn about the... you're going to learn about, oh, this knob does that, this knob does that. And it doesn't matter what brand you go to, they're going to figure... And remember, look, why am I ranting? I'm going to take the shit out of New Zealand in a sec. Where's Rob when I need him? Where's my wingman? Ultimately... I've got a filter over there that costs $700. It is a replica, not a clone, a replica of an ARP 2500 1047 filter. And that's the best filter I have ever fucking heard in my fucking life. Behringer has the same filter for $100. What's the difference? I can listen to my filter for hours. It's magical. And I can listen to the Behringer for about 3 minutes. Go, yeah, it's great. But here's the thing that always remember. When it gets played on this, no one's going to hear the fucking difference. No one's going to hear the difference between a filter that cost me $700 or a Moog 1 or a glorious fucking Sequential Circuits Rev 2 and a soft synth. They're not going to hear the difference.
It's back to your points on mixing and getting your stuff mastered.
Yeah.
As well. I mean, if you have crap in, and it's making a bunch of noise and whatnot, sure, the argument stands for any piece of equipment that's failing. But no, if you like in my case, I don't care because it's the mixer and it's quiet. There's no actual physical knobs, so that means I'm not going to run into issues with pots failing at some point or sliders starting to get crispy, all those other things.
Yeah.
Now, sure, the internals can fail just like any other device, and when it happens, it happens. But I'm going to run into that no matter what.
Yeah. My thing about older synthesizers and analog synthesizers and a good synthesizer is that there is a soul in it.
Mm-hmm.
And hey man, that might be with one of your cheaper synths too. That's great. If you find that soul, the thing to me about a good synthesizer is it has songs already in it. There are already songs there, and all you have to do is pull them out. So it's the same with a guitar or a drum kit or whatever, or it could be a recorder.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, there's already songs in it. And all you're doing is find a calmness in your mind when you can zone with that piece of wood or whatever it is and harvest them out. It takes time to harvest them out. It's why I just go, the Jupiter 8 is the greatest synthesizer ever built, because every time I sit down on that thing, I write a hit. Every fucking time.
And the same, I like the Kurzweils. It's just especially when you start dealing with low end pulsed kind of synth sounds. Whatever kind of bass punches, they just have a richness to them. That's really I don't know. They just come through much cleaner for some reason.
Saxomatic. Does anybody else have another question they want to shoot at me? Shoot at my face. All that Dreadbox, baby. Oh yeah. Somebody ask me a question. Jesus Christ. Jesus fucking Christ. So I'm just going to rant. So I'm doing these jam sessions, and they're really good fun, and I just spilled one recently, and this is one I did on Thursday. Boom. Go listen to it. Please, go listen to it. I'm loving these things. You can buy that on Bandcamp. Boom. Right there. Or if you're on the Patreon, you can get it for free. and I just posted it up there like the other day for free. So that's a high quality recording, blah, blah, blah. What I'm loving about these things is that I'm setting up, it's like a playground. It's a sandpit. And I have a really couple of rough ideas, but it's a sandpit. And it's done in such a way that there's a swing set, there's a merry-go-round, there's a whatever, and I can go there and play. Because it's funny. The funny thing... Diana, is your hand still up? All right, Kyle, I just wanted to... That's all right. No big deal. I just wanted to check. Because if you had a question, I wanted to look after you. That this is one thing about being a professional musician is that you forget to do is play. That it becomes all work and no play, and Jack becomes a dull boy with an axe, which is good because that really inspires music. But the great things about these things is that I'm able to play more, and I'm not, I'm not falling into the trap of the tyranny of the beat. Boom, 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 and change. Da, 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 da. I don't have to worry about that shit. I can just explore something. I can explore who I am and the audio that I'm creating. It's a really fun thing. And I want to know your thoughts on this. Like, I want to know what your thoughts. Not right now, but tell me later because I'm really keen to know. What's interesting is that when I put this on Bandcamp, Bandcamp said, "Oh no, you can't put up something that goes for an hour." So I had to, cut it because it's got like a 290 meg limit on audio, and which is kind of 20 minutes ish at half an hour at 44.1 24-bit. So I had to cut it up, and so I was faced with this restriction. And I was thinking, okay, well, that's a really interesting restriction. So if I've got like 15 minutes, I want to get a 15-minute egg timer. Like a little, like glass egg timer thing, like hourglass. And sit it there and go, I have 15 minutes to achieve this thing. Because I love doing, like you'll notice, the concept behind Heliosphere was, so the Heliosphere is, it extends to all of the planets, all the way out to formerly known as Pluto. Then the Oort cloud kicks in, and it's kind of like the atmosphere of the sun, kind of, but not really, but kind of. So my way of thinking was this is if you started at the Oort cloud and just moved back in, you're going to take a 1 hour journey back to the sun. What's going on in that hour as you pass each planet? So I did a little bit of research on each of the planets. I did a bit of research on NASA, released the soundscapes. They recorded the sound of the sun's hitting the surface of these planets, and then they sped it up, and they released it as an audio file. And it's free. Go listen to it. It's incredible. And Jupiter is this beautiful drone. Oh fuck! Everything else is this craziness. My shit's falling apart. So I researched that. I looked into all of these things and kind of built it into the same idea. The new one I'm doing is called Orbit Decay. And the concept with Orbit Decay is you're in a space vehicle, because it's all about spaceships. Chris Foss forever. Oh, I'm sorry, Mark. Was I keeping you awake? When we meet, you're allowed to punch me. I'll give you permission, or I'll buy you a beer or something. I don't know. The concept that it's a when I was a kid, I had this book, and they were paintings by the guys that did the covers to Isaac Asimov and stuff like that, and they did this artwork of spaceships that had been destroyed in battle, or they crashed or whatever. It was the most fantastic thing I've ever seen. So this is the inspiration, is that you're on this spaceship that's derelict and it's in orbit, and the orbit's decaying. So it gets faster, it gets worse, and everything. And all of this is leaning towards, as Walt, you missed the announcement, Sequence 1 Glass Jar, which is the huge project that Mr. Walt is involved in. that I'm pretty I think this is probably the biggest thing Angelspit's taken on. It's pretty huge, and I'm very, very excited to be rolling this thing out, and it's an enormous concept, and it's very, very fantastic. I'm very, very excited, but I can't say too much right now. Aaron sends me a question saying, are the days of album artwork and physical books dead? Would someone even bother with them since everything is all digital? Hail Agent Smith. Yes, hail Agent Smith. That's actually a really good question. I'll throw this back at you. Doing a photo, well, no, because that image is so important. But when you do a photo shoot, do a video shoot as well. So you set up a really cool set with costume and makeup and la 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 la, and while you're there, shoot a video. Yes, it's true that artwork booklets are difficult. See, the really interesting thing about artwork booklets is people used to pull them out of the CD, flip through them once, put them back in, and never open them again. Same with vinyl. You know, with vinyl things, you might look at them once or twice. But the thing to remember is with each of those images or each of what it is, that's something that you can be using in your marketing. So I think that it's changed, but there's still a need, and now there's a whole bunch of new places where you can really utilize that artwork. So I say keep doing it because it's fun. That's it. That's the answer to my question. Oh yeah, yeah. Does anybody have another question that they want to ask me? Because I feel like we're sort of like running out of the juice a bit today. And if that's the case, we're going to go raid over to MTV TV. MTV TV. Hi, welcome back. So Twitch is doing some really fun things at the moment with figuring out all the new copyright strike bullshit. That's gonna be adventurous. I've always wondered what the hell is going to happen. Hold on, can you guys speak to the creative process of Heliosphere? I'd love to. As a band who's been around since 2003 and constant reinvention. All right. Well, Heliosphere is all the stuff that's going on right now is working with a project called Ice Planet 9000, and all of this is leading up to Sequence 1 Glass Jar, which will be announced in its fullness hopefully within the month. And as I was saying, I don't know how long you've been on. This question comes from Midnight, who's watching on YouTube right now. God, I hate my internet connectivity like you have no idea. Pause. Thank you. It's about setting up different areas of creative mush and going at them. Oh yeah, and that's how we did it. Yeah. And it's just about pushing the boundaries. And Kitty's also asked, what's happening with copyright strikes? It's better if you read them. Fuck, I'm going to punch my fucking piece of shit computer in like 13 seconds. Yeah? No? Hopefully not. I'm spluttering like a fucker right now.
With me.
Yeah, I know. That's why I can't use two things at once. Fuck you, bloody... fucking internet dog shit provider.
You're gonna have to,
okay. Unfortunately, I can't stream to MTV TV today because I can't do two things at once on the internet. So, Adam, if you're watching, you're gonna have to do it. I can't do it. Yeah, that's what's going on. That's the whole the point of this. And what's interesting is Kitty In answer to your question, it's probably better if you just research it directly. I think what they're going to try and make life as difficult as possible for DJs, because they've been passively aggressively saying you need to be doing original content. So yeah, just getting ready to make your life fucking hell. Yes, Adam, you're going to need to do the raid. I'm going to wrap it up because I think it's currently 96 degrees in here. Yeah. Tanner, it's probably about that bad where you are because we're both in LA. And I'm going to thank you all for jumping in. And I'm going to just say once again, every Saturday at 9 a.m., boom, join me on a quest for rock here with these amazing people. If you want to help me out and help keep the madness going, Angelspit's Patreon. And as I mentioned, the madness that is going on with Ice Planet 9000 and will soon become Sequence 1 Glass Jar, which is going to get you very excited because it's all about that endless excitement. Man, I want to punch my computer so badly. Come on, I believe in you. Do it. Thank you. And I have a gig this next Thursday. And this is going to be another improv live stream. And it's going to be awesome because I'm going to be building instruments and fucking them up. And it's going to be great. And we're done. So we are now going to stream to MTV TV, the place you need to be because it's fucking awesome.
Analog instruments or digital?
Mechanical. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've got a... Do you remember Slinkies? Slinky Springs?
Mm-hmm.
I've got a... Oh, yeah. I've got a Slinky Spring and a... it's one of the things that I used when I did the Nosferatu thing. So it's a salad bowl with a Mesopiezo transducer on it. And I've attached the Slinky to it so that when it slinks, it resonates the bowl and the little Mesopiezo mics pick it up. And it's the most lovely thing because you can yell into it and do all sorts of funny, awesome, fun things.
Awesome, man.
It's good fun.
I like it.
It's
I've
very
been trying to figure out a way to screw up a guitar properly.
Um,
I got a couple extras.
Yeah, bolts, prepared piano, and weaving wire around the frets is really good as well. And also, if you set a spring, like a little spring, like, you know, a tiny little spring, across the actual strings itself over the pickup, and then you attach things to that spring.
I was also thinking about taking little electric motors and putting like felts on them.
Yeah, sure.
Another thing, setting them on there and do like voltage controlled chords and shit.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
Kind of like a hurdy-gurdy, but different.
I love it. I love it. I'm all over it. We're going to raid eventually, but we're going to finish this because you guys are fucking fantastic and life's just too short. Right.